Hi everyone, I'm Tiffany Peterson and welcome to the Make It Happen show. I'm so excited for you today to get to see a whole other side of Michelle McCullough, this incredible love, dear friend of mine, marketing strategist, and now published author. We are so excited for you. But often on the Make It Happen show, Michelle is interviewing other people or sharing with you her juicy, juicy gems. And today, I'm excited to help you get to see another side of her and her content and so forth. So welcome, Michelle, to your own show.
Thanks, Tiffany. Thanks for having me on my very own show.
Isn't that fun?
It's great.
So I'm excited. So tell us about, this baby of yours, this love of yours, this labor of love that's launching here in March is the Make It Happen Blueprint. Your very first big book is coming out. Tell us about what drew you to wanting to write this book specifically?
Well, I have always loved success principles. As you know, and many people know, that I got my first Franklin Day Planner when I was 12 years old. And so success principles have been an important part of my background. And while I have been building a marketing and strategy business and loving getting to know social media and sharing that and speaking on that, people will say, I don't know how you do it. How do you have 3 businesses? How do you have 2 kids? And what I found out was that the principles and the practices that I put into place every day are really the things that help me to make it happen in my businesses. And so I just put all of those into a book. So now we can hand them out to our good friends and hopefully lots and lots of strangers.
Yes.
So that they can see the Make It Happen Blueprint.
Great. I love it. And we're going to share with you a couple of principles that are in this great content because you need a little sneak peek to this. But many of you, similar for myself, when I first got to know Michelle and so forth, her experience, and every year I hire her for a VIP strategy day for my own marketing. She is a marketing genius. This girl's brain, when she's on, the way she turns on her strategy is incredible. But we're going to talk about these peak performance because even myself, many times we've had the conversation of saying, how do you do it all, right? You're running this, you're doing that, you're with your family, with your businesses and your friendships. I mean, sometimes I think you have cloned yourself like 17 times, seriously.
Wouldn't that be awesome?
Right, that's our next $1 billion idea,
yes,
right? Like if
cloning.
we could really learn how to do that. So let's talk about this from this concept of, if you were to say, and I know this will be hard because there's 17, right?
Yeah, 18 actually.
18 peak performance strategies in this material. So I'm asking you to pick, tell me your top 3. Let's start with the first one that comes to mind. Just go with your heart, your intuition. What's the top one that you want to share that's up for you today?
Number 1, hands down, is on productivity and planning. So, you know, I'm a systems junkie when it comes to marketing, but I'm a systems junkie in my life and in my business and in my time management as well. And so part of being productive and planning all of that out is sitting down and owning your schedule. Now, people will say to me, do I have to have a Franklin Day Planner like you? Because that's so not my thing.
Right.
Or they'll say, you know what, my online calendar is not working for me. What do I do? I honestly believe that it doesn't matter what system you use as long as you use it. Right? So people will say, well, tell me what the right one is to use, but you need to use the one that's right for you. Some people rock an online calendar, putting everything in their phone, and it's right there and they have what they need. Other people really cannot plan without having a full glance sitting right in front of them and a pen in hand.
Right.
So however you do it, it's just a matter of owning that you need to choose which one works for you and actually using it, which is the other part of that. But productivity can take on many shapes and forms, but as long as you have a way to own your calendar and own your to-do list, something that you'll look at and refer to, you can use any system you want. But I love talking about productivity. I'm trying not to geek out too much and go into like everything about it.
Well, I kind of think we want to see you geek out, right? I mean, I think we just kind of make it casual and like, let's see you have your geek out moment. But I do think you're right, is like picking, because the challenge is when you're on paper and then digital and all various things. Maybe some people are even using walkie-talkies or Morse code or something. Who knows, right?
Or Palm Pilot.
I mean, Palm Pilot.
Those
Who's
were
even
big.
heard of a Palm Pilot, right?
I had one of those. Now my daughter plays with it like a toy.
Right.
So
I think that's a valuable piece, is picking, but creating some planning. Any tips you want to throw in there of what helps you kind of map out your day, map out your week, that would help them maybe get more out of their time with the tools, that whichever tool they're using to create more planning success?
Well, I wholeheartedly believe that we don't give our brains enough credit. Like, we have been raised on a calendar our entire lives.
Yeah.
And so sometimes we say, oh, that just doesn't work for me. But actually, even if you're a total creative, the calendar can totally work for you. But for me, I look at it as a week at a time. Some people, if you look at the Franklin system, they had their month view and their weekly view and their daily view. I am a weekly view girl from start to finish. If I can see my whole week, I can plug all the things in that I need to. And because my to-do list matches daily, weekly, and monthly things, it makes it easy for me to plug in. So I totally believe that time is your greatest asset in your life. It doesn't matter how much money you have in the bank. You have limited resources when it comes to your time. So it can either be an investment into your life or it can be a liability into your life. And so if you look at your schedule on a weekly basis, you can plug in the things that matter most. Whether you own a business or if you're a stay-at-home mom, it doesn't matter. The things that you plug in that you need to do every single day or every single week, if they can come off of your to-do list and actually go on your planner in your calendar, and you make appointments that are just as important as like lunch with a friend or a meeting with a client, then you'll often be a lot more productive because your brain gets that. And so if I see on my schedule that I'm going to write a book or if I'm going to write a blog post, my brain starts to go to work on that because it understands it. Just like I know when my birthday is, when that appointment comes up, it's ready for that.
Yeah.
So allowing your calendar to work for you and your schedule to work for you will actually make you more productive, more creative, and then when you get to those assigned times, you're ready to go to work.
Yeah, I love that. What would you say to the person who they have their weekly plan, they have their things mapped out, and then life kind of puts a bomb in the middle of one day? What's your go-to advice for how do we recover when life doesn't work to plan? Because I like to say sometimes life will life you.
Right.
I believe in planning, as you know, and doing that. Sometimes it will life you, but I am curious what's your go-to advice when you get thrown off?
Oh, because that doesn't ever happen?
Yeah,
right.
because it happens all the time, right?
Because I can have the best laid plans for a day and then my kids are sick. And then
Right.
what do I do? Or I can be at an appointment and I get a flat tire. So what happens when those things come? So here's the great part about a great system and a great schedule is you can move things around. So if you know exactly the things that you need to get done in a week, if something happens and you need to clear your schedule, great. I tell entrepreneurs and people who work 40 hours a week, you can't schedule your entire 40 hours a week. Or if you only work 20 hours, you can't schedule that whole 20 hours. You have to leave breaks. And so you can only schedule about 60 to 70% of your time and fill that time up because you need to have some of that wiggle room. You need to give yourself some space for things that come up and blow up. And you know what? Here's the thing. It's okay.
Yeah.
If something happens, if something needs to change, you can move it. And the less that we apply and assign some, like any kind of weirdness or guilt about something that doesn't get done, it makes it hard for us to get back on track. But if we can just say, hey, that was a day, I know it's going to happen sometimes. I'm going to plug these things in over here. I'm going to let that one go. And that's okay.
Okay. I love that because you said one of my favorite words in there, which is productivity. And that's what matters more is, am I productive with my time?
Right.
And so if you have the flat tire or your child's up sick in the night or something comes up, that's real life, is that you can course correct, I think, of refocusing back into, okay, well, this is a key productivity item.
Right.
I can, shuffle it somewhere else perhaps or rearrange things to that. So that's number one. I mean, do you guys get how juicy this is? Like this book, you need to own this book. I need to own like 100 copies of the book and then give them out to my family, friends, right?
I won't stop you.
Right, thank you. I'd be happy to do that. But sincerely, is that I believe in the concept and process, the thought process of spend time with people who are positive, who are successful, and their strategies. And Michelle is one of those people for me where sincerely, like I'm sitting here watching this and I just have this emotion coming up and I'm like, don't keep it, we're on camera, but it's real life, is that I'm just like, I am just so proud of this girl because of who she is. She has so much to offer. And so sincerely, 1000% is you need this book because she's going to give you like this much. And then what's in that material is so extensive. And it's
I didn't
like
even pay her to say
spending,
that.
I know, this is just me. I'm just going rogue right now. I'm a little off script. She'll let me though, I think. Don't edit this out. This is really good. Is that she seriously is that it's like spending some time with such a powerful influencer. So yeah, so that's number one is planning. Let's talk about and just go with your gut. But number two, so again, we're talking about 18 peak performance strategies. I'm only going to let her model 3 of them.
Right.
But
It's
if
tough.
you had to pick a second one, what would it be?
Oh, geez. Okay, well, I'm going to go with the plastic bag principle.
Okay, let's hear it.
Okay, so the plastic bag principle started with a story that happened when I was 7. So I was playing in my room and it was past my bedtime. And when my mom came in to put me to bed, she didn't put me to bed. She handed me a plastic sack and she said, pack whatever you can. I don't know when we're coming back. And that was like the pivotal thing that happened when I was a kid that began my parents' divorce. And in hindsight, as I look at that experience, I'm so grateful for the challenges that had come, but it's interesting, we look at the baggage that we carry and the baggage that comes in our lives and the various challenges, and many more things have happened to me since that time. And I could have said to my mom, can I have a different bag? My grandpa was a travel agent, and we had Pan Am overnight bags in abundance in our house.
Yeah.
But just in the midst of her own trial, she was thinking, get it done. And I think for each of us, we have baggage that we wish we could let go of, and it ends up being part of our past, but it doesn't have to be our future. And so in the plastic bag principle, we talk a lot about taking some of those past challenges, not letting them be your label, but letting them be your strength, and figuring out how to look at other people and realize that you might be carrying a bunch of baggage, but so are they. And you might have certain experiences in your life that you could help each other with. And that if we acknowledge that each of us are just human baggage carriers and that don't come in nice leather Louis Vuittons on wheels, they're in plastic, ratted, tattered, torn things, that we truly can figure out how to help each other better. But we can find our greatest happiness in letting some of that baggage go. My favorite.
You should have warned me before we were going to talk about that. Because then I'm like, oh boy. I didn't wear waterproof mascara on that. So what do you think that taught you, right? Like as a child, as a young child, was the concept in the, I know in the moment it's just probably frenetic energy to get yourself together, but what do you think that taught you or instilled in you?
I think that I learned, my mother at the same time, who is one of the central focuses in this story, she was such a happy person. Like, despite the challenges of being a single mom and having many other challenges and providing for 4 kids and trying to schedule all of those things, she was happy. And she modeled for me that even if life is hard, you can find happiness in even some of those dark times. And that our happiness isn't determined by our circumstances, but how we choose to look at our circumstances.
Yeah.
And so that's one of my favorite parts about that principle in that chapter too, is that we all have things, but you know what, we can still find really great ways to find happiness and joy in the everyday.
I love it. So what's number 3 that you would pick out of all of the 18? I know. And it's not to say, so this is why you have to buy the book, is because then you get all 18. But just from, again, your heart, your gut, like if there was one principle that would help anyone watching this, what else do you want to highlight today?
I'm going to go with one I wasn't expecting, because we kind of talked about this before we started, that we were going to do 3, but the one that's coming up for me right now is there's a chapter in my book called Being People-Centric. So the people in your life, kind of like what you talked about at the beginning, are so important. And we've all heard the quote that you are the sum of the 5 people you spend time with, right? So there's a whole chapter in my book on creating your power team, the people around you that support you. But there's another chapter called Being People-Centric, which I feel like is a not often talked about success principle, that I acknowledge that I'm only as successful as the people that I bring along with me, and I'm only as successful as the way I treat other people. And so I watched other people who I thought were incredibly successful that were terribly rude, and that really broke the barrier for me. And so in it, I share about 7 different principles about how we can be more people-centric, and that really our success comes in not pushing other people down, but in bringing other people with us. And it's everyone from the strangers on the street to the people that we're interacting with on a regular basis, the assistant that's at the bottom of the stairs. Do we treat them like somebody who's just there to do our grunt work, or like human beings? And that really success and high performance comes as we look aside from who we are, and that we feel like we have to rise, because there's this thing in our head that makes us feel like we have to stack rank ourselves, that one person is better than another, and we constantly compare ourselves to other people. I love your quote that comparison equals despair. I talk about that.
Yeah.
It's in my book too, by the
It
way.
is?
Yeah.
Yay.
Comparison
I made the
equals
book,
despair.
you guys. Like, that's good news.
But
in all sincerity, you're right. And that's one of the things, not to put you on the spot, but I think you have just done incredibly well. As long as I've known you, is that how you show up for me, I see you show up for others, but you're always adding value to people's lives. How can I help? How can I support? Right? As being people-centric is that you're living this. I think one of the best pieces of advice that I received, and we've talked about before, is, in the concept that Michelle and myself, as we do a lot of public speaking, is there's this phrase or this concept that who you are off stage is 10 times more important than on stage, right? Or on and off camera. And I can tell you, she lives that principle of how she makes people her life and their needs and their value and showing up for them. I think that's powerful. Is there any last thought or tip that's up for you that you want to share on any of those principles, or anything else that's in your heart that you would think about for yourself I think many people want to write a book or think about writing a book. Tell me when you knew it went from an idea to this is happening. When did that decision, what was the catalyst that said, I'm going to put this out? Anyone that's written a book, produced a product, produced a program, they know that labor of love is that lots of people have desire. What helped you make a decision, or what was the turning point to turn a desire into now this incredible work of art that's coming out so soon?
My gosh. Well, I remember somebody at an event one time saying the quote that you should always have two books with you, the one that you're reading and the one that you're writing.
Yeah.
And I remember going, oh, well, what book am I writing? And I am a journal collector, like all of those notebooks that you find that are on sale, that are there. They're like point of sale and you buy them even if you don't need them and you have 500 at home. So I went home and I grabbed one and I wrote at the front, my book. And I didn't know what it was called. I didn't know that it was going to be Make It Happen. And Make It Happen has been part of me for a long time.
Right.
But I didn't know that was the book I was writing. So I just started writing stories down and writing some of my favorite principles and things that I loved and things that I cared about. And then over time, I was like, I think it is Make It Happen. And then it became the Make It Happen blueprint, because so many people talk about Make It Happen. I know I don't own that phrase, and lots of people use it. But where does that come from, where this idea is and somebody says make it happen, to actually doing it? And so the Make It Happen blueprint really came from me applying in my life we all have that little, I call this the dusty old box, right? We all have in the corner of our brains this dusty old box that we've labeled someday, right? That someday we're going to write a book, or someday we're going to run a marathon, or someday we're going to save money, or someday we're going to quit that bad habit, whatever it is, right? And I remember when I thought, I think that's today. And so I got that box, and really the same thing that got me to write the book is what I hope everyone gets from the book, is that whatever you have going on in your head, the thing that you really want to accomplish, that goal that you've always thought you could do, that you can say, that's today, and you can get it, and you can go and make it happen.
I love that.
Love it.
So juicy, so good, so many good things that you can create. Who's this book best for?
I wrote it with two audiences in mind, which are polar opposites, but I kind of wrote it for me, if that makes any sense. So like, there's a really strong through line for entrepreneurs. There's a lot of entrepreneur stories in there. There's a lot of stories in there for moms, which again, kind of opposites people who are doing different things in different roles. I think that whether you're a professional and you work for someone else and you're making a paycheck, or whether you're an entrepreneur growing your business, the principles inside are designed to help you say, whatever your circumstances, whatever your life's work, whatever you do every single day, how can you do that at a higher level and love it a little bit more?
Yeah, I love that. So where can they find the book? Where can we buy? And when does it launch? And when can we get it? Like, how fast? How soon? Because I want my copy today.
I don't even have one yet.
I know.
And
so
I like
when can we get this?
Okay, so the book itself officially launches on March 21st.
March 21st.
March 21st. But it is going to be available online and in a lot of bookstores. So I've been waiting for my publisher to tell me all the places that it's coming, and I have cried like a baby girl, like a baby girl. But it's of
like
course
a baby llama.
Like a baby llama. It's of course on Amazon.com, but it's also been picked up by Target, so it's on Target.com.
Target!
I know, and Barnes and Noble.
Barnes and Noble.
And I am told that it will get a limited airport release.
Airport release?
Yeah. So,
girlfriend?
So if you see the Make It Happen blueprint in an airport, will you just buy it in the airport? Even if you don't want it,
Yes.
I'll buy it back
Please.
from you.
Right. Just buy it in the
Just
airport.
buy it in the airport.
We'll buy you a Starbucks, a treat. We'll ship
Something.
you this, something free. I mean, whatever you want. Just buy the book, please.
Yes.
Right.
But we do have some fun things happening with the
Yes.
launch.
Okay,
So
let's hear it.
come to speakmichelle.com, keep track of all of those things. But we've got some launch parties happening, and all through the month of March, we're doing the Make It Happen series with
Yes.
the calls. So every Tuesday in the month of March, you can get some free conversations on some of these success principles that are in the book, which are a lot of fun. So we hope you'll join us for that. But all the details are available at speakmichelle.com.
Yeah. So March 21st, put it in your calendar. It's in mine. Right. But as she's saying, throughout the month of March, she's also basically doing 4 free hours of coaching all month long. So that is a huge gift to us. We are so excited for you, Michelle.
Thank
your
you.
whole tribe, your whole friends, family, audience. Thrilled to see how many people have picked it up. It's that it truly is. It's got so much juice on it. This energy of this is fantastic. So thank you for having the courage to follow through with what your heart's desire is. So thank you guys for joining us. Again, this has been a fun treat. We look forward to seeing how you start to change your life with applying the principles that you get to learn from this rock star, Miss Michelle McCullough.
Make it happen.